I'm very excited to welcome two of the members of Chai who are joining us via Zoom from Japan. I've got Mana and Yuki here. Hello,
はい、
konnichiwa. Hajime mashite.
こんにち
Hello.
は。
あ、
はい。
こん
Nice
に
to
ち
meet
は。
you.
は
Nice
じ
to
め
meet
は
ま
you.
じ
し
めまして。
て。Nice to meet you.
So Chai is getting ready to release Wink on May 21st via Sub Pop. For anyone who doesn't know you very well, you are all known for your fun, very colorful music videos, outfits. You put on really incredible show. You released your first album, Pink, in 2018 in the US and Punk in 2019. And so Wink is going to be your third follow up from that. The band is Mana on lead vocals and keys, and Kana, you two are identical twins on guitar. Yuki, you play bass, and you're the main lyricist, I believe, and you also direct the visual aspects of the band. And then Yuna is on drums. So we're really excited to have you here. We just started playing Action on the Bridge and maybe Chocolate Chips over the last couple of months as well. So before we start talking about the music, I want to also mention the Neo-Kawaii movement that you all have been launching. It's an aim to be more inclusive, to deconstruct um, kind of the narrow beauty standards that exist in Japan. And you've said that you want to change the idea of kawaii all over the world. Is that something that you all decided to do when you formed as a band, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so for us, Neo-Kawaii is actually a word that we created when we started the band. All four of us came together and we came up with this word because it's a word that only the four of us could actually create, and actually only a message that we could relay. We felt as though for us, we wanted to free those people who felt like us. In Japan, there tends to be a very set beauty standard as far as what is considered attractive and what isn't. And so us having insecurities and not being a part of what was considered beautiful in Japan, it made us even stronger. It made us actually have something to relate off of one another to. And I think that's why when we came together and we created this band, that word was just so powerful and just stuck. It was a part of our mission, but also it plays a great role in as far as our music because it's a message that's universal.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think a lot of American audiences would be more familiar with kawaii overall. We have, of course, gotten more of the anime culture here, but I think a lot of people are just not they're just not familiar with it. So I think putting it in those terms is really helpful, and to make it universal.
嬉しい。そう思う。
It said, yeah, that makes them really happy.
Good. Yeah, and kind of related to that. So you've been a band for almost 10 years now, and you make music that celebrates imperfection, champions individuality, and inspires self-love. So in terms of being a band, what imperfections have you learned to use as strengths?
あれじゃない？チャイはどっちかっていうと、Yeah, for us, it's not about really, we don't really consider any parts of us, I guess you would say, we haven't found any places that we want to improve so much, because I think as a group, what we always do is we're constantly evolving. We're always changing. So what we like today might be completely different tomorrow. And I think we take those parts about us where we just constantly evolve. So usually what we like at one moment is exactly what we output. The next moment it will be completely different. And so we actually have this, we vow to one another not to go back. So every time Chai goes forward, we never go back. And that's a thing that we've always made between one of us. And every change that we make, whether it's, our looks or the song taste or the sound, it's always us though. It's not gonna never be not Chai. It's just us evolving into a different form of what we are. Kind of like an organism in a sense. We could kind of keep forming into different things, but we're always gonna be us. So we don't consider those moments where we're like, we might not be too keen about this. We don't consider those imperfections necessarily. We consider those, just another chance for us to evolve into something else, morph into the next Chai.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful way to look at it. And that relates a lot to what's happening on Wink, because it's a different take on your music. And I find it to be your most reflective and also most subdued to date. And you borrow a lot from those R&B and hip hop elements. And I know that you had said that some of this can be attributed to the shifting mood and musical process forced by the pandemic. But I wonder if this is, if you feel like this is the direction your music was going to be heading anyway.
パンデミック
Yeah,
関係
so
ない
we wouldn't blame it so much on the pandemic, but I would definitely say that the pandemic definitely played a big part in it because we couldn't go out anywhere. So we were forced to create this album in our homes, on GarageBand. And actually, that actually became a positive thing in a weird way. We were able to kind of take what was going on negatively around us and actually take a positive part of it because it allowed us to actually find music or try to hone into creating music that's like your best friend, your close friend, the one that you go to when you're stuck in the house and you can't go anywhere, or the music, when you're mad or sad or angry. Because during that time when we were home every day, you had all those emotions, but you couldn't channel it anywhere. You were just in your house. So we found this album to be that album, that friend that you can go to whenever you're feeling all these types of emotions. So I guess in a sense, the pandemic played a part, but I would say that our overall sound was probably going to go this way anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that you also featured more collaborations than you've ever done before. And I had seen in an interview that you had said that working with rapper Rick Wilson on Maybe Chocolate Chips is the first time you've ever incorporated a male voice into Chai. So what was that like to add to your musical palette?
なんかその曲ができた時に想像をいつも
Yeah, so our first time actually, usually our music process is we create the actual music part first and we put the lyrics on later. It's always after. For the music part, we usually, every time we listen to our song, once it's finished, we're like, I wonder what kind of voices would sound good on this track. And that's kind of like how we start our creative process normally. And when we're playing Maybe Chocolate Chips, we were listening, we're like, who would be good for this voice? Who would be good for this sound? Who would be good? Like, whose voice would be good for this? And we couldn't come up with anybody. And so we thought, maybe a male voice for once, because we always have, our voices on there are the only ones on there. So maybe we should add somebody else. And so we thought, well, who do we have that's a friend who's a male, who's a rapper? And we're like, nobody. What do we do? So we think back to Pitchfork Festival. We're like, hey, do you remember that really, really amazing, like really cool rapper named Rick Wilson that was actually rehearsing while we were rehearsing and we were just staring at him in awe because he was so amazing? Maybe we should call him. And we're like, yeah. And so we came up with this idea. I mean, we kind of like exchanged contacts at Pitchfork anyway. And he happened to also like our music. And so it was great. So we just kind of contacted him and we made it happen.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Oh, subarashi.
Awesome.
So Action was the last single that we had been playing on the bridge for quite a while. And you wrote that in response to the Black Lives Matter protests last summer. I know that Japan has a relatively small immigrant population, and due in part to that, the movement didn't gain much traction over there. So I wonder what it was like to watch those protests happen across the world while living in a country that wasn't as directly affected by the issue.
なんかそう日本はそう本当に移民の少ない国だし、だからこそ多分なんだろう思い切り大きな差別とかがなんか
Yeah, so for me, well, first, my reactions to the initial protest, just seeing them on social media, whatnot, because for us, it was more so on social media than the TV. When we first saw these protests, our first reaction was, wow, like the ability of American people to, well, first to start off with America for us, what we saw. So the ability for people to actually take action when they feel something. It sounds really strange, but in Japan, a lot of people, because, we don't have that many immigrants, as you said, we don't have a big immigrant population, and because everyone's pretty much the same, you don't see too many people out there protesting. And for us, seeing people actually take action off of our emotions, is not, not so much a normal thing. So when we feel upset or we're hurt by something, our initial thought is not to go out and cause action. It's just to, I guess, deal with it in a sense. And so for us to actually see that, it was, wow, like these people are actually taking action for how they feel. Like they're channeling into, channeling their emotions into physical action. And it's, for us, it was like more like, not admiration, but it says we're admiring the fact that they actually took action as to how they felt. And that's something that we actually preach about all the time, is being who you are and expressing yourself. So that kind of, inspired us in a way. The other part to it, as far as the song goes, watching the protests and going, you saw, different people's reactions. Like for me, I noticed that I saw two different reactions. You had both people who were extremely hurt. Everyone in the situation was obviously extremely hurt, except people's reactions were different. One side, reacted in rage. Another side reacted in more so, okay, well, we have to think about the kids in the future. And so let's try to figure this out with love. And I'm not saying either side is wrong. I'm just acknowledging the fact that there was both sides and both people were both feeling pain. That's where it rooted from. So I don't fault any side. For us though, watching that, I took that and I thought, okay, action is important. Taking action is important. But how can Chai take action in our own way? Yes, we can't necessarily relate directly to what's going on, but what can we do for ourselves that will show that being positive and showing positive actions is a great thing? And so from there, those two different types of protests that we saw, I chose to think about love and put action into love. And in that case, in that sense, action, the song actually turned out to be something more so of a uplifting type of thing. So yeah, take action, but it's not directly connected to the protest in that sense, but it is because it's also telling you to take positive action, to love, to continue to love, even if, yeah, you might be hurt, but continue to try to love is kind of what our message was with that song.
Well, and that's something we absolutely need right now as well. And you bring up a really good point about how, in Japan, it's a little more, it's a lot more homogenous, and you don't have to necessarily deal with that. And so your way of doing it wouldn't be to go out and protest. But this is something that's kind of happening for Asian Americans here in the United States as well. And there's been a lot more visibility to that population. And for the first time, many Asian Americans are finding their voices after many years of feeling invisible or foreign to a country they grew up in. And I feel that on a personal level as well. But as a band who is very vocal about exuding boldness and embracing uniqueness, how might you encourage people who have felt invisible or foreign in their own society?
そうだね。今度アジア
Yeah, so for me, yes, as soon as I saw what was going on as far as, Stop Asian Hate and what's going on with the Asian community as well, I am obviously Asian myself. So it hit a nerve, a certain part of me that was like, I started feeling something in me that I never really felt before. And in a sense, it's, even more strange because I'm not physically in the States or in a place where I saw this going on, but at the same time, I'm still an Asian woman, so I still feel that. And when I saw this, the first thing I thought was action. Exactly what I just learned in the Black Lives Matter movement, action. Like, this is what, we needed. But of course, I chose, I'm going to choose the love action. So for me, I'm going to do actions out of love. So I took it upon myself to post a photo of myself with a bunch of different compliments to myself about being Asian. And I started off by doing that because I thought instead of going off and, being upset and expressing how angry I was or sad I was about what I was seeing, I thought if I actually bumped myself up as for being born Asian, it actually would change it in a way and make me feel more positive. So I posted a photo of myself and I put things like, I am proud to be Asian. I am born Asian. And this is what my culture is. And this is how it makes me who I am. And I'm proud of it. And I love being who I am. And you should love who you are too. And as soon as I posted that, I got so many responses from all different races, all different people from all different backgrounds, and they were so positive and so loving, and it made me feel so much better. And I think that's how I'm trying to, respond to a lot of this type of situation. Is I'm trying, even in our personal lives as Chai, we've always taken what we've been worried about, what we've been sad about, and changed it into strength, changed it into positivity. That's why you'll notice a lot of our songs are very bright and very open and happy and pop-like. It's because, what it roots from might be pain or might be sadness, but the output is always going to be positive because we want other people to feel that way. And, even the hashtag Stop Asian Hate itself is like really sad. Just looking at it made me really upset. The fact that we even have to have a hashtag like that made me really upset. But, you know, to know that when you had tagged that hashtag, all these people come together and support one another, that's the positive aspect of it. And that's what I really think is what we need. And us being an Asian band, all of us, you know, an all Asian band, and us being able to travel the world, I think we set an example for what, you know, Asians are. And, you know, I think that's what makes me happy, is to be able to do that, to go around the world and set that example. Like, look, yeah, we're Asian, but we're here and we're doing it. What's up?
このなんか怒りを爆弾に変えて投げないっていうやり方をもっとちょっとずつ始めれたら、それが私がお手本となってやれていけたら、もっと世界は良くなれるんじゃないかなって確信したから、なんかそうやってみんなを勇気づけれるようにしたいなって思いました。はい。
Yeah, no, that you absolutely do set an example. You put yourselves on the platform, and it's just a wonderful thing. And especially, you know, for people who don't get to hear much of the stories of Asians and Asian Americans, I personally really admire what you all are doing, and thank you for just helping the cause, you know, just by bringing love and positivity into your music.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you go soon. I know you have a lot going on today. It's early. I know it's early there. It's like 9 a.m. over there. But I had one more question, because you had talked in a Pitchfork interview and said that the only love song you've written is about dumplings. So I was wondering if both of you could briefly describe your dream dumpling.
なんだろうな。
So for me, Yuki, I would love a gyoza that's full of vegetables, so packed with veggies, packed with scallions, and packed with garlic. I know a lot of people are like, but packed with garlic. And I also love the tiny gyozas, tiny dumplings that are just a mound of them. So I just like seeing a bunch of them all together is what might be my dream of dumpling.
Yes,
So for me, I would want mine to be full of ginger, full of cabbage, and then I would like to have a bunch of carrots in it as well. And I also like small dumplings, you know, obviously a bunch of small dumplings, but I would want mine to be pan fried on both sides, so it's pretty much burnt. That's how I would want mine.
Sounds delicious. Well, I just want to thank you both again for joining me. Again, Chai is releasing Wink on May 21st via Sub Pop, and we are so looking forward to hearing it all. We hope that you will visit the United States. If you ever come to Kansas City, I will ask my mom to make you some dumplings.
She said, "Oh my God, amazing. No, we were definitely going. Please."
Yes, please come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you.
ありがとう。
Bye.
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 Bye.